Capitol, they're scheming in the night, selling out our freedoms for a pocket full of spite. From the border to the heartland, the wolves are at the door, twisting truth and tearing down what our fathers fought before. But I'm a patriot source, standing tall and true, with a Bible in my hand and old glory flying blue. Ain't apologizing for loving this land. We'll fight the forces of evil with fire in our stand. God bless the USA, we'll never back down. Patriots for freedom, wearing that crown.
Well, it's Friday. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. This is the Patriot Source podcast on the Patriot Source Network. And as you can tell, NomDePlume is still not back from his one-arm golfing trip. Apparently, he's a better golfer when he has missing half of a finger because he shot really well. He was sending us all updates on his golf outing. Shot in the 80s all week long with only one hand. But somehow he did it because Nom's a pretty good golfer. We get that naturally from my dad, who was almost a pro golfer, and then he met my mom and decided to have kids instead, but plays golf just about every day of the week in his mid 70s. So, but Nom picked that up, and I decided not to spend a lot of money playing golf. But Nom's actually a really good golfer, and apparently he's a pretty good one-arm golfer too. How are you, SK? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. I'm tired. I've been really busy. It's that time of year with the kids, almost the end of the school year. So everything's busy. There's always something going on somewhere with sports or school activities, end of school year activities, projects trying to get wrapped up, just lots of stuff.
That's right. That's right. Thankfully, we don't really have that problem here in the Patriot household because our kids are homeschooled. So kind of checked out at this point, doing a little bit of school here and there, doing field trips, like taking the kids places and stuff like that. But I feel your pain. So first of all, I want to thank the audience, the chat, all of you guys who are patient with us. One of the things that we decided very early in the journey of the Patriot Source podcast is that our families were always going to come first, as they should. You know, we are not invested in this to the point where we're willing to sacrifice our relationships with our wives and our kids and stuff like that. So sometimes that means that things will come up. Earlier this week, SK needed to spend time with her kids because she has sacrificed a ton.
I did. I had an event come up and my husband was out of town for a couple days this week. So it was just me, and you know how kids are. And I found out about an event that was happening like last minute. And I was like, well, this is great.
Mhm.
And so I messaged PatriotDad and I was like, I have an event that I didn't know was happening till just now. So
Well, at
that's
least
why
you
I was
found out
there.
about it like a couple hours in advance.
That's true. That is true. But it would have been nice like a couple of days in advance or a week in
Yep.
advance.
Yeah. SK, people over in the chat are wondering why you're so calm and mellow right now. I think
Because
this is
I'm
that
really
this is the
tired.
after hours show.
I know. I'm really tired, you
Okay.
guys.
Well, you
I'm
need to text
sorry.
your
I'll do
husband.
my best.
You need to text your husband and tell him to bring your sauce in so that we can make this a fun after hour show. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, no, I already have it. I just haven't been drinking it.
Well, then get to work. Get to work, because otherwise it's just going to be.
Dad encouraging me to drink. I'm like, I don't even feel like it. I'm so tired.
Do it. I won't. And we don't want a bunch of sober people here on this show. It'll be boring for an after hours show. So anyway, back to the story. So folks, I just appreciate your patience as we decided to take Wednesday off. Stuff like that will continue to happen, especially as we get in closer to summer. I know over the next few weeks, I have a lot going on here in the Patriot household. We are moving down to Alabama the about third week of this month. So I will be out for a period. And then we are also going to spend some time at the beach. So there's going to be a couple shows coming up where I'm going to be out. I'll try to do as much as I can. So y'all just be patient with us. And we appreciate it. Nom will be back on Monday. SK will be here and there as we move into the summer season. But thank you for your patience. Don't forget, this is the after hours show. So if you've got your Rumble rants, if you've got your YouTube, whatever the hell those things are called, get them in. We will make sure that we stop the show mid-sentence and respond to them. And probably as we get to the end of this, we'll have ample opportunity just to kind of engage with the chat a little bit, because I don't really have that much to talk about. I mean, there's a lot that's happened this week, but again, it's been 5 days since our last show and everything's been talked about, but we're going to talk about quite a bit of it. So I don't know if you guys saw, but King Charles decided to show up this week, which just cracks me up considering what we know about what Donald Trump is doing on the world stage right now, literally dismantling the entire British imperialist system right in front of their eyes. He invites the king over, and that was fun. So we got a little bit on King Charles' visit. There is an actual Nazi communist running for Senate in the state of Maine. And we're going to talk a little bit about Graham Plattner, because the hypocrisy is just incredibly amazing to watch as you watch these Democrats wrap their arms around an actual Nazi. They love him. They think he's the future of the party, and he's a full-on
Patriot Dad. Patriot Dad. He went to war and he came back and he just had a rough period there. It's okay. It was just a rough period.
I think a lot of us have been through rough periods in our life. I know I've been through some in my life, and at no point in any of those rough periods did I ever think I need to go get a Nazi tattoo.
Yeah,
Never.
Zero Nazi tattoos over here. Actually,
Never.
Zero tattoos. I think I'm like a unicorn, but yeah, zero Nazi tattoos for sure.
No, I went and got a few tattoos, but none of them had anything at all to do with wanting to murder Jewish people. None of them. They didn't. I mean, that's not going through a dark period. That is an ideological alignment with a murderous ideology is what it is.
Kyle also has zero tattoos. That's good to know, Kyle, because I feel like a unicorn. When people ask me why I don't have tattoos, I don't tell them it's because I'm afraid to get one. I tell them it's because you don't put a bumper sticker on a Bentley.
Well, I think tattoos are pretty cool in the right places, so I have one. Not as many as Nom, because Nom's got them all over the place, and he's got that really cool stuff. Has anyone ever seen Nom's sleeve tattoo? Have you guys?
Yeah,
has he shown it to you? Hey, in the chat, has Nom shown you his sleeve tattoo before? Have you guys seen it? It's pretty badass. It is the dragon from The Hobbit, Smaug. Like, he has the entire dragon down his arm, and right at his wrist is the face of Smaug. It's pretty sweet. We'll have to have him show it to you guys next time he's on the show. It's pretty awesome. I think it took him like a year to get it done.
Oh my gosh, somebody in here has 56 tattoos.
56 tattoos?
You just like pain?
That's all right.
One
of a good friend of mine had them all over. He had them on his neck. I mean, head to toe, but he was a really cool dude.
I'm afraid that it's going to hurt.
It hurts. Yeah.
That's why I don't have any. Why am I going to pace my? And I'm afraid that they'll start and it'll hurt really bad, and then I won't let them finish. So then I'll just end up with something weird. Or plus, I don't trust somebody to draw on my skin permanently forever, because what if they mess up? Also, I will find every imperfection, and that will be what I focus on. Yeah,
once you get it, you just kind of got to be okay with it. There's no way around it. Unless you're Graham Plattner and you are trying to run for Senate and you realize, holy crap, I have a Nazi tattoo. I need to run out and get it covered up and pretend like it was just a dark period in my life. Insane. So we're going to talk about that.
We're finding out all kinds of things about the chat. Cat sass. That's some interesting information right there.
I used to have piercings in unmentionable places. My daughter was just laying next to me on the couch a little while ago. And she looks at my face and she's like, Dad, what is that scar on your eyebrow? I'm like, what do you mean? I have a little scar right here on my eyebrow that you can't really see because my hat's in the way. I'm like, oh yeah, I used to have an eyebrow ring. She's like, what?
What?
Yeah.
You used to have an eyebrow ring?
When I went through my dark period, I got my tongue pierced. I had my eyebrow pierced. I had a bunch of earrings in here. I had, like the 90s blonde tips, frosted tips.
No,
Oh
you
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So that's what a dark period in a normal person's life looks like. You get frosted tips and an eyebrow ring. You don't get a freaking Nazi tattoo, Graham Plattner.
Dude, you had an eyebrow ring, a
Yeah.
tongue ring, and
Yep.
your ears all
Mhm.
pierced.
Yep.
I am never going to get that out of my head. That
Yep.
is wild.
Oh, but it was the 90s. That's what everybody did. It was the cool thing to do.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
eyebrow rings were never cool for a dude.
They
I'm
were
sorry.
very cool. Look, even Guarding says, OMG, I actually had the frosted tip. See?
Yeah,
See?
so did the Backstreet Boys. The
Yeah.
frosted tips are not an eyebrow ring. In
Yeah.
the comments, were eyebrow rings ever cool for a guy,
Yes,
or
they
was
were
it
cool.
gay?
They were cool. Sorry, A. Beaverhausen. I was one of the smart rebels who did not get pictures taken. There literally are no pictures of any of that anywhere, as far as I'm aware. Sorry.
I bet your brother has some.
No, he doesn't.
I bet he does.
No, he doesn't. They don't exist. We were smart back then. There were no cell phones. There were no people didn't carry around little cameras taking pictures of each other, at least not my group of friends, because we were smart.
I love Kyle so much. Number one, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he
Number
is.
two, he just said, I had a perm, but I'm actually gay.
Yeah, well, well, I'm not gay, and an eyebrow ring was not gay in the 90s. It may be now,
Yes, it
but
was.
it was not in the 90s.
It was
The problem with the
in the 90s
eyebrow
too.
ring, though, is that it pushes itself out. Like so eventually it just kind of went bloop and just plopped off, and it was gone. So it didn't stay very long. And my tongue ring I had to take out because I bit down on a piece of pizza once and literally broke a tooth in the back of my mouth. So I had to take that thing out. And I still have the broken tooth back there, but it has never caused me any damage or any pain. So the dentist is like, who cares? Just leave it. It's fine. Okay, we'll leave it. So anyway, moral of the story is when you have a dark period in life, that's the kind of stuff that you do. You don't go out and get a Nazi tattoo. But what's even funnier is the reaction from the Democrats who've spent the last 10 years calling everybody else Nazis.
Thank you, patriotic girl.
What'd she say?
Appreciate you. She said
no
gay
matter
for a
what.
guy, no matter what decade. And I
No.
concur.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I don't accept it. I don't buy it. No, that's not how it works. In the 90s, it was cool. Yeah, it was.
No, I was there in the 90s. It was not cool. Okay.
Yeah, but you were in Oklahoma. Here in the Midwest, it was cool.
Where there were men that wore cowboy hats and Wranglers and boots, and they definitely did not have.
All right, we're moving on.
rings.
This is going off the rails now because the chat is for some reason trying to steer us in the wrong direction. So I got in my truck today and I ran to grab a Big Mac because I was super hungry this afternoon, and I love Big Macs. I know they're terrible for me, but I love them. So I went to get a Big Mac and I drove past the gas station here in Central Ohio and just about crapped my pants. Just about pooped my pants when I saw how much gas was here in this area. $4.99 here in Central Ohio. $4.99. $4.99. So the whole way home, I'm preparing mentally the series of videos and content I'm going to do on why gas prices have jumped to $4.99, because apparently they seem to have popped to that level right about the same time that King Charles showed up. And I had this whole theory baked out, and I was going to do content about how the British imperialist system is trying to inflict maximum pain on the American consumer when the king is here. He does a show of strength. And I get home and I start researching it. I'm like, crap, I can't say that because it's not true. So we're going to talk about why gas prices are so high here, specifically in Central Ohio. And I also do want to spend some time talking about the British imperial system, because I don't think enough people are truly understand exactly what it is that the Trump administration is basically replacing, and why it's so important that he be allowed to continue the work that they're doing. So I found a couple of really interesting charts that I think are going to be cool to walk through from an economic standpoint, just so you can kind of juxtapose, I love that word, juxtapose the British imperial system with the American economic system so that we have a real core understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. Okay. And then we've got some fun stuff we're going to do too. Is that fair? Where do you want to start, SK? Do you want to
I
start
don't
with
care.
the king? Let's start with the king.
Sure.
Let's do, because this is hilarious. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have all seen the reporting on this already. You've probably seen, all the clips of the king standing in Congress and saying stupid things. But I think this was probably my favorite moment of the whole event. Did you see this? So Donald Trump, and that he had his hands in this. He did. He had to have had his hand in this because this is a uniquely Trumpian approach to inviting guests that he wants to make sure understands who's the boss. This is the way the king showed up to the White House.
It won't take long to get that right.
Why isn't it working? Here we go. Let's try it again. There we go. You guys see this? Look at this. Look, the king shows up to Revolutionary War uniforms. How amazing is that?
Is that when they were walking out to the Rose Garden?
Yeah, I don't know when it was. All I know is the king of England was presented, this is so funny, was presented with Revolutionary wartime uniforms as he was walking through the Rose Garden or wherever the hell that was.
That was 100% Trump. Nobody will convince me otherwise.
No, you can't convince me that wasn't him. That was him. Because this is the way that Donald Trump operates. He wants to make sure people understand who's in charge. And the best way to tell the king of England, who lords over the British imperial system, that you used to be in charge, but you're not anymore, is to remind them why they're not in charge anymore.
While he's standing like 7 inches taller than the king and has bees landing in the palm of his hand. I mean, all of it was just like poetic. Also, did you happen to get a video of that like long standing ovation after the king spoke? Those same people that couldn't stand for, the parents of the one Ukrainian girl, and, they couldn't stand and clap for anything, to be honest. But yet they really stood and clapped for a long time for a king, for those same people saying no kings. They were sure clapping for a king, weren't they?
They clapped a lot, and it wasn't just once. Like literally every sentence the guy ended, they stood up on their feet. And I saw one clip that I didn't grab, but I do have another one we'll show, where he was talking about how it is the responsibility of England and the United States, who have a special relationship, to continue to support Ukraine. And Nancy Pelosi just about fell out of her seat with excitement. Now, her body doesn't function the way that it used to because she's an old bag of slob, but nonetheless, she was more excited about that than anything I think I've seen her be excited about in a long time. She looked like a cackling hyena in the way she was clapping and cheering for the idea that we were going to continue to support a country who we now know was actively engaged in a scheme to steal United States taxpayer money and send hundreds of millions of dollars of it back directly into the Biden presidential campaign.
I just can't get over the fact that they have entire protests called No Kings, and they rename it for the UK so they don't offend anyone to No Tyrants. But yet these people were standing up in US Congress, like giving standing ovations repeatedly for an actual king.
Over and over again, over and over again. We do have it looks like is this a Rumble rant? No, this is a YouTube. What do they call these things?
Yeah, super chat. But
Super chat.
I don't like that woman. I don't know if you know this, but she's from Oklahoma. And yeah, if I could tell you some stories.
So Cajun Patriot says, did y'all see Jennifer Welch mocking Erica Kirk? Yes, we saw that. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because honestly, these people are straight up demons. But what is really interesting about the alliance that is now emerging from the Candyland cult and the demon queen herself is that they sound almost exactly the same as these lunatic leftists like Jennifer Welch. Like almost verbatim, they are using the same talking points, the same narratives, going after the exact same people at the exact same time. So tell me again how I'm supposed to believe that these fake ass wannabe black pill America first people are MAGA, when their rhetoric sounds more like just a regular leftist today. That's all it is. It's left-wing propaganda. That's all it is. And she just confirmed it.
They're indistinguishable. You absolutely cannot tell them apart. But this is by design. This is on purpose. We told you this was going to happen last year.
Yep, we did. We did. And the other really interesting thing about all of these people, and we'll probably spend more time on this in the coming weeks, is that there's a thread, a person, a vein that seems to run through every single one of these podcast bros and hoes. And I would argue it probably runs through the leftist podcast bros and hoes. It's this guy named Alexander Dugin. Now, I've been researching Alexander Dugin. I know that SK has done some work into Alexander Dugin. I know that Lisa has done an incredible amount of research into who this guy is. But I think we're going to have to start asking some questions about why all of these supposed MAGA influencers are all connected to a guy who thinks that Stalin and Hitler didn't go far enough, and his only objective in his life is the destruction of Western culture. Like, that's who Alexander Dugin is. Like, I don't think people understand who this guy is. He's not just some political philosopher grandfather figure. This guy actually thinks that communism and fascism didn't go far enough. If you were to extrapolate Alexander Dugin's political philosophy to its ends, we're talking about a system that will take all of the global societies back to the dark ages again. And I am not exaggerating. This guy believes that the decadence of society is the thing that is going to destroy the planet. And the only way to solve it is to destroy the very fabric of liberal societies, which he considers Western economies. It's disgusting what this guy believes. And yet somehow, all the podcast bros and hoes love this guy. They all follow him. They retweet him. Their talking points are almost the exact same thing as what Alexander Dugin's talking about. It's all the same. It's almost like there's a political philosophy that's driving the podcast bros and hoes. And that political philosophy is a guy who wants to see more communism and more fascism.
Yeah, they are all doing it for the communism and socialism, and it's crazy, just like the protests today. That's what it's all about. They aren't even hiding it anymore. They are openly talking about wanting. I mean, I think the one thing that we need to make sure everyone understands is, as much as I've said that they want to completely change the structure of our government and our political system, one of the things that, of course, we all know that they've talked about doing, but now they're openly like campaigning for it, is packing the courts. And I don't think that you guys understand that if the Democrats win and they are able to get legislation through to pack the courts, it will be impossible for Republicans to take office again, and you will be living in a communist society.
Yep. There's no
That's
doubt.
just the truth.
They've already told us what their plans are. They're going to give statehood to Puerto Rico and DC, which is going to give them what they believe 4 additional Senate seats. They are going to add probably another 4 Supreme Court seats. They are going to eliminate the filibuster, and then they are going to drive communism right down your throat.
And they're going to eliminate the Electoral College, and they are going to amend the Constitution in multiple different ways. Their resources will be distributed equitably, including healthcare. Yeah, you'll be paying probably 80% of your money in taxes. And then you have to sit and wait for the government to give you your money so you can have money to eat.
That's right. Now, there is one major roadblock to their plan. You saw the Supreme Court ruling this week, didn't you? On the Louisiana congressional map.
Yes, and that's
Did you guys see
great.
that?
But again, they want to pack the court and they want to revisit all of these court decisions. They were talking about it today on MSNPC. I don't know what it's called now, but I call it MSNPC. But yeah, they were talking about that today. I mean, they are now not only just talking about wanting to pack the courts, they are campaigning on it, and they are pushing to the Democrats. We have to win because we have to pack the courts, and then we have to revisit all these Supreme Court rulings that are making it impossible for us to do what we want to do.
We have to spend dedicated time highlighting what the actual platform for this crop of Democrats is, because of all the Candyland cult crap that's going on social media. Most people have no idea what the Democrats are even talking about. They have no clue. That is the sole purpose behind the saga that's playing out online, is to distract you enough, to demoralize you enough so that you stop paying attention, so that when Democrats go out to their town hall meetings and they're doing their campaign stops, they can actually get away with telling their voters that, yep, we're going to prosecute every single member of the Trump administration. We're going to go after every Trump supporter online that ever said anything positive about the Trump agenda. We're going to probably prosecute Trump himself for things like war crimes. We're going to put him and his entire family in jail for the rest of their lives. They are going to reshape the entire concept of our constitutional republic. It will no longer be a republic. It won't.
Nope.
They're going to do those things, but they're getting away with being open about it to their voters because people are too busy chasing Candyland crap all over social media.
Well, not only that, but a big majority of them have been brainwashed into believing this is the only solution for the United States and that this is the answer. And none of them want to go to work. None of them want to work hard. They all want to sit around and get something for nothing. So they've got voters built in, and they just convince these people that they have to go out and they have to fight for this. And I mean, that's how you get the guy that tried to assassinate Trump last weekend.
That's right. A Beaverhausen asked a really important question. Do you believe the right would rise up and fight if that were to happen?
100%.
I pray.
I do.
I pray that we would. I know
I
I
would.
would. And I would be leading the charge in whatever capacity I could to stir as much of that up as possible. There's no doubt about it. I understand what that means. I understand exactly what it means to say something like that. But that would be the position that I feel like I would be put into, and the sacrifices that I would have to make if we got to a place where the Democrat Party was able to regain enough control to create a country that I have absolutely no desire of my kids ever living in.
Exactly.
It wouldn't happen.
Exactly. And I mean, I would pick up arms for that. But also, I have kids to take care of, and I make really good sandwiches. So I would probably feed you guys until it was really needed.
Yep. But there is still hope, right? I mean, we can talk a little bit about what's happening state by state and congressional maps, and we'll maybe touch on that a little bit. But the thing that we have to stay focused on also is communicating effectively to people what Donald Trump is doing on the world stage right now to dismantle the system that the Democrats expect to be able to implement here. Because make no mistake, the British imperialist system is the system that the Democrat Party is hell-bent on accelerating and shoving down your throat. It is the system that they're protecting. So when King Charles shows up here, we actually have a warrior in the White House who knows exactly how to handle someone like King Charles. Did you guys see this? This was probably my second favorite clip that came out of the entire visit. This is Donald Trump talking at the lectern. And can you imagine how, well, here, I'll just play it real quick.
Anytime the Queen was involved in a ceremony or anything, and
start over again.
Anytime the Queen was involved in a ceremony or anything, my mother, I just see it so clearly. She loved, and I told the king this, she loved the royal family, and she loved the Queen. And anytime the Queen was involved in a ceremony or anything, my mother would be glued to the television and she'd say, "Look, Donald, look how beautiful that is." She really did love the family, but I also remember her saying very clearly, "Charles, look, young Charles, he's so cute." My mother. My mother had a crush on Charles. Can you believe it?
You can't convince me that wasn't planned. You
That
can't
was
convince
planned.
me.
He just made that up. That is not even true.
The King of England, the head of the British imperialist system, is here in Washington, D.C., and Donald Trump
Calls
is
him cute.
absolutely trolling him into the dirt by calling him cute. He's cute. This is why they hate him.
And he's good at, okay, listen, did you see the press conference yesterday? I think it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before. When Peter Doocy asked him if he was going to start wearing a bulletproof vest, and he said, no, because I am afraid it'll make me look 20 pounds heavier, and I don't want that. And even like literally, well, I don't think it was Peter Doocy that asked him. It could have been the woman next to him. I don't remember. But either way, that they had like 3 women or so in the frame with Peter Doocy, and everyone in the entire room started cracking up. Even the people that hate Donald Trump don't hate Donald Trump. When he makes a joke, they all laugh, and
because
it's
he's
hard for them to
funny.
hate. And it's hard for them to hate him. Even people that pretend like they hate him on TV, they will even tell you when you're with Donald Trump, it's impossible to hate the guy because he's so likable.
Yep. That's his superpower. He is a funny man, and you can't hate funny people. But he does it in such a way that he literally just, what's the word, emasculates the king in front of the entire world, and he makes people laugh while doing it. I see
Just
a question.
like wearing the Revolutionary War uniforms. I mean, that was A+. That was the best part of the entire thing.
It was absolutely brilliant. I'm going to ask Grok this question. The Queen is a distant cousin of Trump, isn't she? I've heard this theory on social media, but I have not been able to verify it because I haven't really looked. SK, have you heard this, that there was some genealogy done and it came out that the Trump is actually a distant cousin of Queen Elizabeth?
I saw it on social media, but I haven't looked into it. I don't care enough to look into it.
Well, so I was talking with my wife about this, and she was just, we were just chit-chatting, and she thinks I'm crazy, but I think this would be brilliant. How funny would it be if when Donald Trump leaves office, he decides to go over and claim his throne over in England?
That would be crazy.
That's a viral story circulating heavily on social media right now. Recent genealogical research highlighted by the Daily Mail claims Donald Trump and King Charles are distant cousins, specifically around 15th cousins. They supposedly share a common ancestor in the 3rd Earl of Lennox, a 15th and 16th century Scottish nobleman and great-grandson of King James II of Scotland. Well, I mean, it makes sense because his mom's side of the family is Scottish.
But aren't they all basically, if you're like generational, like in the UK, aren't you basically related to the royals? I mean, like, isn't everyone kind of related?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I've never been one that cared much at all about the monarchy, which is because I just don't at all. Like the pomp and circumstance kind of annoys me and all that stuff. But I do love the idea of Donald Trump dismantling their entire system. I love it. I love it.
And I kind of love the fact that King Charles is in some crap. And I found it highly ironic that all those Democrats were standing up cheering for him. Not a single one of them are asking him what he knew about his brother and his brother's inappropriate relationships with young girls and his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. Because in England right now, that's a really big thing. I mean, I have family in England that have been talking to me about it, and they're afraid that it's going to like ruin, like he's going to have to hand it off to William.
Well, and he probably should, because there's no way he didn't know what his brother was up to.
He did
There's no
know,
way.
like they've already said he did know. So
there's no way.
that's my thing. Like you have these Democrats that wouldn't stand up and clap for Americans or parents of murdered children, but they're standing up, giving standing ovations for an actual king while they're also simultaneously saying no kings. And then they're all over the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, but yet they aren't. They're perfectly okay with King Charles knowing what he knew, but they're trying to blame Trump and make Trump some kind of criminal. And everything about the Epstein files exonerates Trump. He hasn't done anything wrong.
This is why these people cannot under any circumstances be given any power ever again, because they are literal monsters. I mean, just think about what SK just said. Think about it. Like, we have an entire political party in this country who is desperate, so desperate to regain power over you that they are willing to pack the Epstein files full of what is really nothing more than, I don't know, like pre-election prank calls to the FBI, because that's basically what those calls to the FBI were. They were prank calls to the FBI. Pranks that were all found to be totally baseless. And yet when you have actual people who are involved in the things that Jeffrey Epstein was doing, who are tied to the monarchy, and the monarchy knew about it, they want you to hate the man who gave you 4 million documents while they're standing in Congress applauding the monarchy that protected those people. These people are sick.
Yep, and Elizabeth knew too. That, remember, she took Andrew's crown away and everything. I mean, he got stripped of his title, all of that stuff. They knew. They knew.
They knew. They knew. Of course they knew. But look, here's the deal. So the pomp and circumstance of all the stuff that happened this week with King Charles here was really just it was Donald Trump's way of reminding the king and the British imperial system who's really in charge, from start to finish. At no point was there any type of representation from the king that he had any control over what Donald Trump was doing at all. At all. So while this was going on, Donald Trump was also out basically telling NATO, take a flying leap, and telling Europe that you're going to have to defend yourself. Did you guys see this? I think this was posted today. Maybe it was today. I'm pleased to announce that based on the fact that European Union is not complying with our fully agreed to trade deal next week, I will be increasing tariffs charged to the European Union for cars and trucks coming into the United States. So he's actually working, continuing to work on the globalist dismantling agenda, using tariffs to bolster and support and create and solidify the American economic system around the world, at the exact same time that the king is here being embarrassed in front of the entire world community. Like, this guy's just got balls.
Listen, so I posted on X when he was here. Somebody commented from over there talking about their king and being embarrassed that he had to be in the same room with Donald Trump, you know, like trying to trash Trump. And I reposted their thing, but I apparently got them to delete their tweet because it's gone. And I can't tell you what it said because I don't remember. But I said, I have questions. Can you tell us how much your king knew and covered up about his brother's best mate, Epstein, and his inappropriate relationships and affinity for minors? How much polish does it take to buff that tarnish off the crown? Also, have those teeth ever seen a dentist? Oh, because she said that her king was gritting his teeth, having to be in the same room with Trump. And I said, also, have those teeth ever seen a dentist? Asking for the American fans of socialized medicine.
That's great.
She deleted it.
Of course she deleted it. Come on. Of course she did. Hold on. I need to pull something up. So keep talking for a second. I'm looking for something here. Because that's not all that Donald Trump was up to. Did you guys see when he had a press gaggle in the Oval Office today where he was asked about Germany? Did you see this? Where is it?
Oh yeah, aren't they talking about pulling troops out of Germany?
Yeah.
And
So
out of other countries as well.
that's right. Where the hell did it go? Bear with me here. I'll find it, folks. I promise. It's a long video. It's like 2.5 minutes. I don't think we need to play the whole thing. There it goes. Trump leaving Germany. Did you guys see this, by the way? Did you see Donald Trump is basically telling the German chancellor that you suck so hard and your economy is such trash and you've done such damage to our relationships that we're just going to start pulling our people home. Like, there's really no need for us to continue helping and supporting you guys and protecting you because you're not there to help us. So why would we protect you?
Would you be considering the same thing for Spain and Italy? I mean, they haven't been exactly on board.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably will. Why should I? You know, look, why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us. And Spain has been horrible, absolutely horrible. You know, it's NATO. It's not even the fact that they're bad. It's one thing if they said nicely, or if they said, okay, we'll help, but the help's a little slow. But the level, and we helped them with Ukraine. You know, they made a mess out of Ukraine, a total mess. And we helped them with Ukraine. Ukraine has nothing to do, you know, we're an ocean apart. It has to do with them. It's like for them, it's their front door. We help them. And Biden gave them $350 billion, which was insane. It's one of the reasons the war went on. But when we needed them, they were not there. We have to remember that. And so if we ever have a big one, because we didn't need any help with Iran. We had Iran right from the first day. It was over. It was over. And now it's even more so. We're so locked and loaded if we want to do. But we didn't need the help. And to a certain extent, I asked them, I didn't need the help, but I said, yeah, we'd love to have you help because I wanted to see if they do it. And they, in all cases, they said, we don't want to get involved. And you know, the amazing thing is they use the Strait of Hormuz. We don't. We don't use it. We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. And, well, wait a minute. And they use it, we don't. And you would have thought they would have said, we would love to help you. But they didn't, which I think was a very, and Germany, I mean, he's doing a terrible job. He's got immigration problems. He's got energy problems. He's got problems of all kinds. And he's got a big problem with Ukraine.
Got a big problem with Ukraine. Big problem with Ukraine. Because they can't solve it. And why? They have no leverage against Russia at all. None. They need Russia more than anybody else in the world because they need their energy. Because these stupid European countries have decided, for some reason, to buy into the whole Green New Deal. And they put themselves in a position where they literally cannot survive without getting energy from the Straits of Hormuz or from Russia. They can't survive. They're idiots. SK, what are you smiling at? Is the chat making you laugh over there?
Yes. Summers. Where'd it go? Australia is another example of being run by absolute retards.
Oh, yeah. Australia is basically like communist down under. It's awful. It's awful. I'm looking for a tweet or a post that Trump sent out a couple days ago. Maybe it was yesterday. He's out doing the political promotion thing right now. He's posting nonstop about candidates in Indiana and other states that have primaries coming up. So I have to get through all of that stuff. So bear with me here a second. Talked about the European Union one. Here we go. So what did the king get out of this visit besides public humiliation? And the recognition by the American people that the Democrats are really just a bunch of frauds who want you to think they don't want kings, when in fact, when one shows up, they literally genuflect and bow and start licking his boots all over the place. SK, what?
Did you see the thing about Mamdani and what he said to the king at the 9/11?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
He took that opportunity to tell him that to give the diamond back to India. I believe it's India. Some diamond. Yeah.
Like the crown jewel?
I
have no idea. I have no idea. This guy's an idiot. But here's the post that Trump put out. This is really the only thing that the king took back. In honor of the king and the queen of United Kingdom, who have just left the White House, soon headed back to their wonderful country, I will be removing the tariffs and restrictions on whiskey having to do with Scotland's ability to work with the Commonwealth of Kentucky on whiskey and bourbon. Two very important industries within Scotland and Kentucky. People want to do this for a long time, in that there had been great inter-country trade, especially having to do with wooden barrels used. So the only thing the king takes back is removing tariffs on Scottish exports. That's all you get, King Charles. You get humiliated. You get a British imperial system that's being dismantled right in front of your face. You get Democrats licking your boots, which we've known that that's who they are. That's what they want to do. You get reminded that you got your asses handed to you in the Revolutionary War. And the Scots get to send us wooden barrels, which I'm sure we need in Kentucky for whiskey and bourbon. Yeah. So apparently Cat Sass says it's called the Star of India. I have no idea
It's
what
like
that
a
means.
diamond, I guess, that was stolen from India at some point in time. And Mamdani really had the balls at the 9/11 museum when he had the opportunity to talk to the king. He literally just said, "You need to give the diamond back to India."
Yeah, that's right. And here's the other parting gift that Trump sent to the king and really to everybody else. Did you guys see this? SK, you're probably not going to know what this means, but he posted this at the same time. You see that? The storm is coming. Nothing can stop what's coming. You see that?
Yeah, I see the cue.
You see it? Yeah. This is what he posted on True Social. Just a friendly reminder.
He's such a troll.
He's
I
such a
love it.
boss. He's
I
such a
love it
boss.
though. He's
I
so
do too.
good at it. And also, whatever they're paying the White House social media team, they are not paying them enough money. Did you see all the memes when the king was there? The bee one.
Yep.
And I don't know if I put the bee one in the Dropbox,
I
but
don't think it's in there.
yeah, I would just go to the White House X account. I mean, that's entertainment for days.
Mm-hmm. Let's do this. So the fellas, the back office production team, MAGA Jake and Guarding the Grid, are constantly hard at work building all kinds of stuff for us. As you guys know, they've basically redesigned the layout, the look of this thing, of this production, but they also love to do timeline cleanse videos. So they sent us a new one. I have not watched this entire thing yet, but I feel like we need a good timeline cleanse before we jump in and I start to show you exactly what it is that Donald Trump is dismantling right before your eyes. You ready? Timeline cleanse.
Introducing products from the Patriot Source back office. That's right, fresh from the cluttered glory of the back office, we bring you revolutionary satirical products that Big Woke doesn't want you to have. These products are 100% made in the USA, specifically the 87 square foot back office behind the podcast studio. Introducing the Liberal Master Debater 5000.
Really?
Just turn this baby on and it will debate exactly like a real modern liberal. Full voice mode, every deflection, every emotional appeal, every pivot to feelings over facts. Perfect for drilling your responses, sharpening your facts, and building mental armor before you step into the real arena. We specifically built this baby to go up against SK in a debate, and the results were,
Guess that didn't work out for the
That's
blue-haired
great. That's great.
rebranded from the Patriot Source back office. Introducing the Liberal Sandwich Maker 5000.
I don't want to debate. I just make sandwiches.
Oh,
that's
no.
good.
That's their worst nightmare.
Oh, that's good.
It's probably dry or soggy. You know, it's not good.
Yeah, they don't know how to make good sandwiches. They don't know how to do it. That's great. That's probably the best part of the show so far.
That was great.
The master debater clip. That was fantastic. Well done, fellas.
Debater. I've been
All right.
on TikTok a lot this last week.
I know. Every time I jump on,
I haven't
see
debated
you on there all
though.
the time.
I've been on there a
Yeah.
lot this last week with just me, but yeah, I haven't debated. But
Every time I log in, I see your little things flashing like you're on someone's panel, but I never hear you talking. You're just like sitting
I
there.
usually just mute and like clean my house.
That's what you used to do anyway, too.
Yeah, when I was hosting lives and everything.
Yeah.
I just lived I would debate people. One time I was debating somebody driving down the highway. I had my phone in one hand. I had AirPods in. I was eating a taco and I was going like 90 down the highway driving with my knee. And I was dog walking this dude.
That's awesome. All right. I'm going to pull up a couple graphs. I'm going to try my best to try to explain to people what exactly it is that we're dismantling. Because I think this concept of dismantling a British imperialist system is pretty vague, is pretty opaque, unless, it's like globalism. Okay, what does globalism actually mean? Because I don't know if most people understand what globalism actually means. I mean, it sounds like on the surface, it means that you want global cooperation, right? You want free trade. They use these words very effectively to try to convince the American people that what they're doing is actually a good thing. I mean, who doesn't want free trade? Of course, we all want to trade freely, don't we? Right? I mean, that's what the libertarians will tell you. All the libertarians who are part of the fake and gay ass wannabe Black First or Black Pill America First crowd will tell you that we should be trading freely around the world. And if trade was actually fair and free, that's an argument that I think I could support. But that's not what's happening in this globalist free trade system. You see, the globalists have set up a process. And the reason why I keep using this term imperialist is because globalism is effectively imperialism, right? We've heard a lot about how the British system is really built. It used to be built centuries ago on navy power, on military might, on the ability literally to move into any country, any culture, any society they want and take it over by force. And then what they would do is they would station and position themselves all over the world. And they had all of these outposts everywhere. And then they would extract the resources from those outposts and bring it back to the city of London. So they were not going into those societies to help innovate and advance those societies. They were going into those countries and those locations to take from them. And I think, you know, the people who were arguing against imperialism for so long, they probably had a really good argument to make. And I think a lot of times conservatives can get backed into a corner because they don't understand what imperialism actually was doing on the world stage.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have no idea what you just said because K Pasto made a comment that if you turn that sideways, it looks like butt cheeks, and now I can't unsee it, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
and we missed a Rumble rant.
If you think about it, really what this system is, it is basically a bunch of butt cheeks. I mean, it is screwing over everybody else for the sake of the British system. So the British system, the imperialist system, is a system where there's a core group of elitists who have dominated the economic output of every country and have literally extracted resources, whatever resources were available from those countries, for themselves. And they've left nothing for the people that they took it from. So, SK, what are you laughing at now?
Pasto. She said it's everyone taking it up the butt.
That's right. That is exactly right, K Pasto. That's what the British system is designed to do. Everyone else takes it up the hiney, except the Lloyds of London and the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and the people who have established their businesses in the middle of this. Let me give you a really good example of how this works. SK, you know a little bit about this. You've done some research into Lord Farmer's metals industry, have you not?
Yep. Sure have. Long time ago.
Do you remember where does he have his mining operations at? Do you know?
There's multiple places.
Are they in England?
No.
They're scattered all over the world, right?
Right.
Okay. So what Lord Farmer, who by the way is the father of the Candace Owens, well, the Demon Queen's husband, George Farmer, is the perfect example of how the imperialist system operates. A lord, nobleman of England, starts a mining company. And because they don't have actual resources in England, he decides to go into other parts of the world to mine for other people's resources, extract it from those countries, and takes it back to England with him.
Hey, Patriot Dad, do you imagine if somebody has an international business that they might need, I don't know, like the CIA or MI6 to be on their side to make sure that they're taken care of and their interests are protected and things like that? Do you think that would be a thing?
Yeah, I think that.
You think maybe Richard Dearlove could have been one of those people?
The eyes and ears.
Considering he had companies that actually did that. Weird.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Was Richard Dearlove also Christopher Steele's boss?
He was his mentor and boss. His
Wow.
mentor.
Huh.
Yep.
Weird.
hmm He loved Richard Dearlove, and Richard Dearlove loved Christopher Steele, which,
Yeah.
by
And
the
what about
way, puts you right smack in the middle of the Russian collusion hoax, doesn't it?
right? Weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's all connected.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you look pretty closely into the Russian collusion hoax, you're going to find out that most of it operated out of MI6.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
Whoops.
Most of it did. So the attacks on Donald Trump originated out of British intelligence. That's where they came from.
It's almost like Donald Trump knew that, and maybe that's part of why he did and said some of the things he did to the king.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you can make a strong case that he knew exactly what he was going to be dismantling when in his first term. Although it's a tough conversation to have because he was setting things up in place in his first administration that have positioned him perfectly to be able to do it now, like creating energy independence, allowing us to become a net exporter of oil, which, as we know now, is going to be the thing that spurs and is already doing it, that literally creates rocket fuel in our economy. He set all that stuff up in the first term. He did all that work in the first term because I think at some level he knew what he was going to have to do was dismantle this system. And he's been talking about for decades how governments have been fleecing the United States, taking all of our resources, sending our productivity overseas, and we get nothing for it. That is the globalist system.
We missed a Rumble rant a while ago.
Oh, we did? Where's the
Yeah.
Rumble rant?
Go.
What's it
You got to
say?
go back up. I just remembered.
Where's it at? Sorry, I
It's
was talking.
Patriot Source Network posted it. It says $2 Rumble rant. A. Beaverhausen. Trump
you read
was
it?
in. Yeah, it says Trump was in swinger country today at the villages in Florida. Old people put different colored loofahs on their golf cart to specify what kind of swinger they are. Also, if you ever catch a glimpse of my kitchen and I have pineapple, which I have pineapple a lot, I store them on the counter before I cut them upside down because it redistributes the juices. It is
Yeah, that's
not
why.
that. I did
Sure.
not know that's what that means, but that is not why my pineapple is upside down. Okay.
Sure thing, SK.
It's because it tastes better.
Sure thing. Yeah, I bet it does. All right, so back to my story, which is not nearly as exciting as SK's pineapple analogies. This chart right here is a perfect representation of what the globalist system looks like today. So historically, the imperialist system was based on military might. And then somewhere along the way, the British realized that, holy crap, we can't defeat anybody anymore. So they had to switch gears. They switched from controlling and dominating the world through physical control into financial control. Does that make sense? They set up systems where they don't necessarily have to send their lords into your country anymore to extract your country's resources. Now they can do it through financial transactions. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, think of the Straits of Hormuz. The Straits of Hormuz is one of the key choke points that the British system has used for decades to control the global economies through what's called managing scarcity. All right, that's an economic concept, which basically means they intentionally keep the market and commodities scarce enough so that they can extract additional revenue in their futures markets. All right. So what this graph is showing you, if you look at this financial aggregates, this graph is showing you the financial instruments and the growth of those financial instruments over time compared to the growth of the physical economies that they're extracting from. Okay. So think about Iran as a perfect example. The way that the Lloyds of London and the British system has literally extracted the wealth from the Iranian people and largely from most of the global economy, is they've done it through the pricing mechanism of how a barrel of oil is priced. There's a couple, and I'll show you here in a couple minutes, there's a couple of inputs into the price of a barrel of oil that go directly into the hands of the imperialist. Now, SK, you have been in homesteading and farming, and you probably know a lot about this. When a farmer wants to sell a bushel of corn, he's going to probably go out and purchase a futures contract on that, right? That futures contract is effectively saying, I'm going to sell a bushel of corn for a established price. I'm going to establish the price today so that if for some reason the price changes, they have a set price, and then they can establish their budgets and they can figure out what their revenue is going to look like and do all that stuff. A futures contract is designed as a financial instrument to agree to purchase something in the future for a set price, right?
Yeah.
In almost all of our future contracts that exist today, there's something physically changing hands. Okay. So the farmer is agreeing to sell it for a certain price, and the purchaser is agreeing to take ownership. They're physically buying the corn and taking the corn. So there's a transaction there. What these monsters in the British imperial system have figured out how to do is to create the same exact type of futures contracts without taking ownership of a single thing. So when the desks in the city of London, the futures contract people, the people who are setting the prices of oil into the future, when they're speculating on what those prices are going to be, they are buying and selling these contracts, and they never take possession of a single barrel of oil, not one. And yet they have figured out how to extract a significant portion of the price of oil that you pay for at the pump without doing a single thing in that transaction. So what this graph is showing you is while the British system is creating financial aggregates, meaning these types of instruments that they're buying and selling and extracting resources from countries, the price and the value of those continue to go up, but the physical economy of those countries is going down. This is what imperialism looks like. The British imperial system is designed specifically for the globalists to be able to come into your country, set up shop, in many cases, do absolutely nothing to help you produce your product, yet they create financial instruments that you have to rely on in order to buy and sell, and they take money out of that exchange. So your productivity goes down, the value of your economy goes down, while the value of their system goes up. This is the British system. Okay. That makes sense?
Sure.
SK, are you listening to me, or am I just talking to myself here?
You're not
Chat.
talking to yourself. There's 120 people on YouTube listening to
Yeah,
you.
are you guys getting anything out of this? I'm trying to boil this down as to the level that even I can try to understand it, because a lot of this is very complicated. And I've been arguing with Grok over the last month to try to understand exactly how the gallon of gasoline is priced when I pay for it at the pump. And you'd be shocked how complicated that is. It's very difficult to figure out, how am I paying for this? Like, what am I actually paying for?
If it makes you feel any better, my husband's in finance and I have to listen to him talk about this stuff all the time, and I don't listen to him either.
Well, the good thing is the ladies over at Prometheum Action who have started a political action committee has been trying their best to help illustrate some of this stuff so that we can communicate it somewhat effectively. And I found a couple of charts that as soon as I saw this, I was like, yep, that makes perfect sense to me. And I want to show you one of them here right now. So when you go to the gas pump and you are paying for gas, here is what the breakdown of that price of gas looks like. All right, let me put this on the big screen so you can see it. All right, so this was based off of a $3.23 per gallon at the gas pump price. about 45% of the actual price of what you're paying for at the pump is the crude oil that's produced. 45%. About 18% of it, or 58 cents of the $3.23, is cost that goes to refining and distribution. So right about 63% of the cost that you're paying for actually goes into producing and delivering the product to you. That means that the other 37% are costs that are being extracted out of what you're buying. You got about 16% or 52% or 52 cents, which goes to state and federal taxes. So those of you guys on the West Coast and other places that are paying $6, $7 a gallon right now, that's probably because you have out of control state taxes on gasoline.
This is per gallon.
Yep. Per gallon.
Wait, Brent Futures marks up 1 gallon of gas 26 cents.
Yep.
8%. So if it's
8%.
$3.23 per gallon, it's 26 cents.
That's right.
That's wild.
But that's not even the worst. All right. So do you guys see this terror premium here? 13%. This is a wholly made up concept. This is the core money-making operation in the oil industry that the British imperialist system has designed explicitly to extract resources out of the Middle East and extract revenue out of the global economy. 42 cents out of this $3.23 a gallon, 13% of the price that you're paying for at the gas pump exists simply because the British system wants it to exist. They are saying that because a large portion of the oil that goes out to the world comes from an area in the world that is dominated by violence and potential terrorism, then you have to pay a premium in order to get that oil out of the ground and deliver it to the world. This is the core of what the British system is set up to do. The British imperial system is the one who created the Iranian Ayatollah regime in the first place. They're the ones who put them in place for the purpose of chaos so that the British system could then extract 13% of every gallon of gasoline that you pay for as a terror premium. Understand that this 13% exists entirely because they want it to exist there. The other part of this that they've done, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but there's this concept of insurance. So because there is a terror proxy in the area, every ship that flows through the Straits of Hormuz, or really anywhere, they're purchasing insurance on the product that they're transferring back and forth. Insurance contracts. And those insurance contracts were owned exclusively by the British imperial system. Now, they thought that they could get away when Donald Trump decided to go into Iran. They thought they could get away with saying that they were no longer going to insure these tankers. And by doing so, they thought that they could stop the flow of oil out of the Straits of Hormuz. So what Trump did is he just said, okay, well, if you don't want to do it, then we will. So we've basically, we've stuck a stick in the spokes of their wheel of one of their ways that they can extract and they can impact the global economy. But we haven't been able to do all of that yet. And this is why you're still seeing high gas prices today, is because the people who control setting the price, the Brent futures markup, they still exist in the globalist system. The futures commodities market is what is establishing the price for you. So you have people who are looking at the area, at the region, and they want to extract as much money from you as they possibly can. So they do it through their markup. They do it through their terror premium. Now, what is it exactly that the American economic system is trying to implement in place of this? Because it's entirely different. It's designed specifically to allow sovereign nations to use their resources for the betterment of their own country, right? So the globalist system And our own economy is a perfect example of this. You guys saw with George H.W. Bush, this push for free trade. What happened in that environment is our manufacturing base was sent overseas to prop up other economies, but really it was to prop up the globalist system. So the globalist system impact on the US economy was to extract our productivity from us. And they sent it over to other countries. They effectively were taking the thing that makes this country who it is, our ability to produce and innovate, to create, and they sent it overseas. Is this making sense? Yeah.
Sure.
SK, are you tracking? Are you bored yet, SK?
Well, no, Jake was talking about his 401k, and I was like, I haven't checked my stocks in a while. I should do that. I lost $780 today.
Yeah, but it's probably up quite a bit from where it was just a year ago.
What? Oh, from a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let me show you what an American system, when properly implemented, looks like. All right. Remember the one system that I showed you, the British system, which shows physical economies reducing in size compared to an American system on a normal, healthy economy. It's flipped on its head, because the thing that makes an economy effective, that makes an economy healthy, is your productivity. It's your ability to lift the average citizen to a higher level of productivity, to a better standard of living, higher incomes, the ability to be able to hand off an economy to your kids that performs better than the one that you were handed, right? That used to be the American dream. We used to have an American dream where a single income, a blue collar income, could raise a household of 4 or 5 or 6 on one income.
Yep.
But because the globalist system shipped all of our manufacturing overseas and then implemented this free money environment where the government just prints trillions and trillions of dollars, it basically took our, did you know that back in the 70s, when we flipped from the gold standard to this whatever Frankenstein version of fiat system we have today, did you know that the price of an ounce of gold was $32?
Yeah, it wasn't much. Also, does anyone know what you're supposed to be buying instead of diamonds, since the price of diamonds is shit?
Well, it's because the market's been flooded with these lab-grown diamonds.
Lab-grown. Yeah.
That's why.
So the value, they're worth nothing now. But
that's right.
Is there something else you're supposed to buy?
Gold, silver.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as far as pretty things, sparkly things.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Gold and silver is what we buy, on top of other things. Cryptocurrencies, if you're smart.
Well, yeah, but I like sparkly things too. Okay.
My wife has a yellow sparkly one. That's really pretty. So maybe you just get colored ones now, like a true. Well,
they
yellow
make those too, I think.
Well, no, the canary ones are like the lab grown, but the true yellow ones that you get from, that.
I have a problem with yellow. I like the pink ones, but I have a problem with yellow because, that's a flaw.
All right, so this is what a normal, healthy economy should look like under an American system, where what you have increasing is a nation's productivity, standard of living, innovation, creativity, the ability to produce for their own benefit. And you have the monetary and the financial aggregates growing at a pretty level, pretty steady pace. They're pretty flat, actually, because you should not be using these monetary aggregates for the sole purpose of extracting value out of a transaction. They should be used to determine the price of something in the future, not extracting value. Because when you try to extract value out of them, then suddenly they're no longer helping the pricing mechanism determine the point between supply and demand where the price should sit. Now they care about how much value they can get out of it. That's the globalist system. This is the American system. This is the system that's being implemented around the world. So that's why you see countries like the UAE, who is stepping away from OPEC and saying, we are no longer going to be restrained by the constraints of a group of people who want to manage scarcity for the purpose of extracting value from our economy anymore. And instead, we are going to do our own thing, and we're going to produce as much damn oil as we want, and we're going to use our resources for the benefit of our people. That is the American system.
Sounds America first to me, Patriot.
It sounds
Dad.
very America first to me. But not only America first, it is sovereign nation first. That's the fundamental difference between what exists today and what is going to exist when this is completed. Countries having the ability to use their own resources for their own improved productivity, to raise the standard of their own citizens, to do the things that they want to do within their own country. And the way that cooperates on the global scale is now you have sovereign countries who are pursuing their own self-interest that then cooperate and trade and negotiate in ways that are mutually beneficial to one another, instead of a core group of elitists who are running an economic system for the sole purpose of taking from every country and keeping it for themselves. And the craziest thing to me is when you talk to one of these libertarian FAGA type people and you try to explain this to them, they have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, because they, for whatever reason, think that free trade just means that we should be free to trade with whoever we want. That's true. You should. But free trade in this instance has absolutely nothing with the freedom to trade. It has the freedom of the globalists to come into your economy and extract your resources from you.
They're worse than vegans.
They're worse than vegans.
They are.
That's
They're
right.
crazy.
You're paying 15% more for every gallon of gasoline that you buy, simply because the globalists want you to. That's why. It's 15%. Actually, it's more than that, because you've got 13 plus 8. You're at 20. What is that? 21. Over 20% of every gallon of gas that you buy is there simply because they are taking that out of your pocket. If you didn't have an agent of chaos in the Middle East who existed for the purpose of choking the flow of oil onto the global stage, you wouldn't be paying that extra 20%. If you didn't have the Lloyds of London who controlled the insurance contracts, who determined how much a tanker would have to pay just to ensure that they could make it through there, you wouldn't have to pay that.
Uh-oh, I'm getting in trouble by Misty on YouTube.
Get a co-host that backs your point, SK. What?
Yeah.
SK love you, but stay on point. What are you talking about? No, she is giving comedic relief as I'm boring the snot out of people. Because economics are not fun to talk about, but it's important to understand the basics of what we're building here. Nobody wants to sit and talk about job numbers, and it's hard to talk about, and it's even harder to listen to. But it's really, really important for the future of our country and your children that you have somebody in the White House that understands the difference between a system that takes from you and a system that gives you the ability to produce on behalf of your own family.
I'm sorry. I'm not
sorry,
a
Kate Posto. I know.
I'm
not
sorry,
fun.
I'm not a very good co-host, Patriot Dad, but you know what? I showed up tonight, so
You did.
I should get credit for that. Okay, Misty?
Yep, there you go. So Kate Posto's right. Economics are not fun. Well, I'm going to move this ball forward a little bit. So as I've been thinking about this stuff in my head and I've been researching and studying it, I was telling you the story about how I got in my truck and went to go to Big Mac, and I saw that gas prices were $4.99 here in Central Ohio today. I was like, this is perfect. I've got days worth of content to make on this now, because I'm going to use this narrative and I'm going to help people understand about how the King of England coming here was the exact same time when prices spiked here in the Midwest. And this is just the globalist system trying to punish the American people. Now they are
Did you
doing
hear that, guys? If you need something to help you fall asleep, Patriot Dad's about to make a whole bunch of content on the economy. But also,
shockingly, my economic content does better than anything else I do. People love it. I don't know why.
Probably because you know what you're talking about.
Maybe.
But The amazing Taurus said SK is allowed to drift off topic. YouTube Karen. Did you hear that? YouTube Karen.
Hey, leave Karen alone. She's out here defending Patriot Dad, who's getting mocked by SK for talking about economics. So what was her name? Karen?
No, her name wasn't actually Karen.
Misty. It was Misty.
It was
Misty, keep it coming. I appreciate the support because I'm not getting it from my co-host here, who's just here to joke and laugh and have fun as we're talking about incredibly serious topics.
So Patriot Dad's trying to make the after hours show serious, and I did not prepare for serious.
I know. This is why if anyone's going to be missing from the after hour show, it needs to be me, because it seems like you and NomDePlume
You said
somehow.
it. I didn't say it because you have some hardcore fans in the comments that come for me when I give you shit.
Well, you probably deserve it. Probably deserve it.
That's
It is
nice.
Friday. Anyway, so gas prices in Central Ohio are not because the king showed up. I mean, as much as I would like to pretend that it is, it's not. Apparently, there's some other factors. So if you're in Ohio, if you're in Michigan, if you're in Indiana, if you're in Wisconsin, if you're kind of in the Great Lakes, upper Midwest area, you're paying $5 a gallon of gasoline right now, not because the king showed up, even though I would like to be able to tell you that. It's because of other factors. There apparently was 2 refinery outages in this area that supply most of the gasoline. The biggest one, I think the biggest refinery in the country, as a matter of fact, is in Indiana. And they had like a day or a 2-day power outage that basically stopped their ability to produce. On top of that, you've also got planned spring refinery maintenance as they switch from their winter blend to their summer blend. That's happening at the exact same time. And then up in Michigan, there's also a BP refinery that is in the middle of a labor strike.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me that one of our refineries was out of power for 2 days? Are people asking questions about that? Because that sounds a little suspicious.
No, so I looked at that. Allegedly, there is no nefarious concerns. It seemed like there was like some type of an electrical issue that caused it to go out. They got it back on pretty quickly, but it stopped refining capacity. And I guess, and maybe this is my own fault because I don't read a lot of headlines anymore. Apparently, the media has been talking about how Midwest is going to see a spike in gas prices for a few days. And I just happened to notice it when I went to go get a Big Mac today.
I can't believe you eat McDonald's.
I love it.
Disappointing.
I love it.
Disappointing.
See, I maybe have a little bit of an unpopular take. I was talking with my wife about this. So you know how over the last couple of days, there's all of the MAHA people who were in Washington, D.C. holding rallies all over the place because of the Supreme Court case that's going on right now around glyphosates. You know, glyphosates,
Yes.
Yeah.
Glyphosate. RFK secured like one of the largest settlements in history over that.
Yeah. And I don't really care about glyphosates. I don't. I know I should. My wife tells me I should care. She tells me that we should be demanding that all of our food be organic and blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that. And maybe it's because I am a trained economist and I do understand that literally every decision that is made in our lives are about trade-offs. It's about asking the question, okay, if we do this, then what? Like, what happens if we were to remove glyphosates from usage in farming?
Well, people wouldn't get lymphoma as much, but also lots of other things. My rule is 80-20. I try to do like 80% as clean and, stuff as I can, and 20% not. And then I just choose what that 20% is, whether it's red dye because I want some of those gummy nerds, or whether it's using the laundry soap that I know is an endocrine disruptor, but it smells so good. Yeah, I just choose, 80-20. Right. You can't have 100% anything.
Well, you can't, because there is a trade-off in all of it. So Boggs chips, glyphosates are basically
it's Roundup.
It's basic. Well, it's one of the chemicals that goes into some of the products that Roundup uses, that farmers use to spray for pesticides and weed control
and your corn and all of that. is sprayed with it because it doesn't kill the corn, but it kills everything else.
Yeah, that's right.
And you can spray your ground with it, well, per the directions. And I live on a ranch, and trust me, the people around here love some chemicals.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but everyone around here does. They spray some shit that I'm like, is that safe? They're
Well,
like, no,
that's
probably not, but we're using it.
That's the problem, though, is there is and I've done a ton of research on this week because I wanted to be able to argue with my wife intelligently about this, because she knows that I don't care. I'm like, I will eat processed food because I like the way it tastes. I don't care. But she doesn't. Like, I love Big Macs because I like the way they taste. I don't care that it's pink slime beef. I don't care. I love it. They taste great.
Gross. I can't even believe you like it. But here's the thing, though. I will say, once you get all those chemicals out of your diet and you quit eating it, when you do eat it, you taste the chemicals. You taste the shit. Like, okay, for instance, we buy these like healthy Fig Newtons, okay? And I gave one to my dad. My dad loves Fig Newtons. And I was like, here, have a healthy Fig Newton. Read the ingredients. You can actually read them. Like Fig Newtons with actual fig, okay? And he was like, yeah, it's okay. And I'm like, yeah, but now if I eat a real Fig Newton, I can taste the shit in it. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, you get used to the actual food taste again. Like when you were a kid and food was actual food, you get used to that. And then when you eat the processed food that has all the chemicals in it, you're like, this is gross.
So I want to take you guys on a quick exploratory conversation, because I see that this is a hot topic, and I was actually going to make a video about this a couple of days ago, but my wife was like, maybe you should pause on this because people are going to hate you for your take on it. But look, I'm looking at it strictly from a macroeconomic standpoint, right? All right, so let's pretend you're the president of the United States. You're Donald Trump, and you run on this idea that because he never actually said he was going to take glyphosates out. That was RFK Jr. But he did talk about improving the health of our food, right? He talked about that. But he also talked about making sure that you can bring food prices down. And unfortunately, you can't do both at the same time. You can't. So if you think about this from a macroeconomic standpoint, you have to ask the question, then what?
Here's the then what. You either invest in the healthy food that you eat, or you invest in your healthcare later. Those are your choices. You either pay the money up front for eating healthy food and hoping your genetics are good and you don't have to go to the doctor or have lots of health bills, or you just pay for it later. I mean, those are your options, Patriot Dad.
Well, I think there's more options, and I'm going to give
And you want your kids' brains to be built out of actual like building blocks and not the ones that are funky shaped because you're eating omega-6 instead of omega-3.
Yeah. I think one of the problems that I have is that the science around this concept that it causes lymphoma seems a little bit like the science around.
No, it's not. It legitimately is one of the causes of lymphoma, for real. On top of that, Patriot Dad, if you go look at the lawsuit.
Oh no, SK is fired up now. Yeah, we woke her up. This is all we did. We woke her up.
Just for the record, I have a binder that's like this thick. That's just research on vaccines, but you can't talk about that on TikTok. So, but I'm kind of like really involved in this. And when the MAHA movement and the MAGA movement merged, I was like, this is this is like perfect for me, because I always say I'm a granola hippie Republican, because I have always tried to, be healthy. And when they kind of merged,
told you that glyphosates have one of the lowest toxicity levels of all of the available.
It's a lie, Patriot Dad. Let me tell you how I know. Because
all
when
the
study
alternatives.
No, listen, Patriot Dad. You can go look at the documents. Every single document from the lawsuit is online. You can read the documents. As a matter of fact, we went to the Capitol last year to stop the bill that was trying to be implemented to give immunity to Kim China and Bayer, because Bayer now owns Monsanto. And as a matter of fact, Germany is where Bayer is, right? It's a German company. They voted, I'm just playing with a bullet, no big deal.
You don't have to threaten me while you're debating me,
No, I've
SK.
been playing with it this whole podcast and I didn't realize I just put it up in the camera. Good thing we're on here and not TikTok. But they like voted to ban glyphosate from all public spaces and any land that the water, like there, where there's water runoff into any type of watershed. That was the first step. The second step was by like 2024 or 2023, something like that. It was going to be completely banned in the entire country of Germany. And remember, this is a German company.
Mhm.
So they passed all of this stuff. I don't think they voted. I think they passed it. And the EU, because, you know, in Europe, it's not the United States. The EU said, no, you can't do that. And Germany's like, yeah, we want to do this. And they said, you can't. You can ban it in the public spaces and where it runs off into the water, but you can't permanently ban it. So that's the fight that's been going on over
Do you
there.
know why they did that, though?
Well, because it's a German company and they don't want to put the company out of business. And also you can spray certain crops because of bioengineered seeds. You can grow corn, which if you're eating anything processed, you're eating bioengineered or GMO corn. And GMO corn is literally just corn that can be sprayed with Roundup and it kills literally everything around the corn and it doesn't kill the corn. And that's what you're eating. That's what anything you're eating that has sugar in it that's not actual sugar, that's corn syrup, you're eating GMO corn. And in lots of areas of this country, you can't even get the corn seeds that you want to get that aren't GMO. They force you to use a certain type of corn seed. And corn is hard as far as cross-pollination because like I'm Native American and my tribe does heirloom seeds. If I want to get corn seeds from my tribe, I have to like sign stuff saying that I'm not going to plant corn on my property if there's corn planted within like 1 or 2 miles of my house, which that's never going to happen because I live in the middle of nowhere and you never know what the crops are going to be on any of the fields around me because they rotate. But anyway, they do that because they don't want to cross pollinate with the GMO seeds. They want to keep the seeds pure heirloom seeds. But that's why, because you can spray and you can have healthier crops. You can grow more corn because you can spray it. You can soak it with Roundup and it'll kill all the weeds and everything around it, but it won't kill the corn. And that's what you're eating. It's all over everything. Do you know that babies in utero have glyphosate in their blood? Like
Yeah.
before you're born, you have glyphosate in your blood.
Right. But here's the economic question, right? Because I'm looking at this purely from an economic standpoint. I get that there's a risk of toxicity with things like glyphosates. I understand that. What we know economically, and this is probably the reason why the German society wanted to ban it, but the EU said no. One of the biggest benefits of a product, specifically glyphosates, is the significant improvement in yields, crop yields, being able to actually produce more food to feed people. Because what happens when you step away from glyphosates is the only alternatives that exist out there that are not incredibly expensive are either more toxic, or other alternatives are things like reducing the amount of no-till farming, right? So no-till farming has been kind of this fad that everyone is going to because they want to protect the environment. They want to make sure that you're not seeing as much runoff from rainfall and erosion and that type of stuff. So a lot of farmers have moved to no-till farming. The only alternative to a thing like glyphosates, which allows for improved crop yields, would be to go back to a tilling type of environment again, or the chemical alternatives to glyphosates are significantly more toxic than glyphosates today.
Here's where you're wrong,
How do you
PatriotDad.
feed mass numbers of people when you're taking away something that enables crop yields to grow? This is the trade-off. This is the economic trade-off that has to, the decision that has to be made. How do you continue to feed large numbers of people at the same time that you're extracting the products that allow yields to increase?
Let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because you can go look at those court documents from the actual lawsuit. When they were doing the studies on the safety, you just said it was less toxic and all of this. That's because those studies were not true. So you have a person that was in charge of the studies, working on the studies for the safety of glyphosate, that worked for Monsanto and then left Monsanto and went to work at the EPA. And then when it was time to approve the study or approve the glyphosate or not, the person that worked on the study at Monsanto is literally the one approving the product for the EPA. That's how you get products that cause lymphoma and kill people, and they tell you it's safe. And that's why RFK Jr. was able to win one of the largest settlements in history from Monsanto, is because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of documents you can read online from that court case. RFK Jr. is an actual boss when it comes to this stuff right here. And I'm telling you right now, you don't want to voluntarily put glyphosate into your body if you don't have to.
If you don't have to. That's the key. And that's the trade-off, right? So look, I'm not arguing that we should go dump a bunch of glyphosates in our food. What I'm arguing is you have to, every decision that you make has a trade-off. Like you said at the beginning of this conversation, the trade-off is, do I want to spend money now or later? Because you're going to have to do it one way or the other. One thing I appreciate about the Trump administration's approach to this, because they've kind of gone backwards on this a little bit and pissed off a lot of the MAHA folks by saying, yeah, we're actually going to support the idea that maybe we should give some type of immunity to the makers, creators of these products. From a president standpoint, you have to weigh the trade-off. Is the trade-off the possibility that you're going to see increased medical costs down the road and you may see some impact to public health, or that you start to create an environment where you see food prices go up? Because the estimate is that if just simply by removing glyphosates from farming, you're going to see over $3 billion a year just in added cost to produce products. And you're going to see a significant decrease in crop yields. So you have to ask the question, as a president, do I want to see prices of food go up dramatically because you're seeing food shortages or lower crop yields? Or do I want to deal with the potential of health ramifications? That is the trade-off that has to be made, a decision that has to be made.
Guarding the grid. We use beef tallow for basically everything. Also, I smear it all over my face.
So does my wife. Actually, she put it on my face too. And I'm like, I smell like a cow.
No, you don't. It doesn't.
I know,
well, I get some that has some good stuff in it too.
By the way, folks, I think this is the first time I've ever actually made SK angry.
Oh, I wasn't angry.
The look on SK's face was like, I'm going to jump through here and I'm going to smack you.
No, you and my husband both. Why do you men just just assume that it's anger? It's not anger.
No,
I don't get angry. You would know if I was mad. It would be very obvious.
But anyway, so that's the conversation I was having with my wife this week, because I'm on your wife's side. I don't really care. I don't really care.
I don't know what she said, but I'm on her side.
Oh, she's totally like, we need to end them. I'm like, great. So you want people in China to starve? Love it. Makes sense.
I mean,
you want people in America to starve. See, there used to be this philosophy.
Want me and my family to be healthy,
then
and I want everyone else. Well, I do to a degree. Oh, well, I used to before all this social media stuff, and before you had me working for a podcast and shit.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I mean, we raise our own beef, but then we don't really eat it. We end up just going to the place that processes it and buying it.
Do you sell it at least?
Well, at the sale barn.
Good. Sorry.
Like on the hoof.
All right. So I want to change subjects because I feel like I've probably lost at least some respect from some folks in the chat. She was debating you. I know Cat's ass. I was debating her back. This, by the way, this is why it's not fun to debate SK, because she's smart. She's very smart and she knows her crap. Hey, let me ask you a question, SK. When you see this photograph, does this bother you?
I immediately think of the floor where Carter's casket was, right on top of that symbol. That's what I think. Yeah,
that's right. So that was Jimmy Carter, right? So the cathedral that Jimmy Carter, they held his funeral in, had the Das Vault logo symbol on the floor at the exact same time that all of the establishment globalists and Democrats and liars and propagandists were trying to convince you that Pete Hegseth is a racist Nazi supporter because he has a dos Volt, which basically means God's will, tattoo on his chest. This is supposed to upset you, folks. This is supposed to be the thing that upsets you the most, but you're not supposed to care about this. You're not supposed to care about that.
I have issues with this for more reasons than what it means and what it is, because I don't even know how you know what that is on his chest, because that's the shittiest tattoo I've ever seen.
Well, because they've actually had cleaned up versions of it. That's a tattoo, by the way, folks in the chat. This is a tattoo called Totenoff, which is the symbol of the Nazi SS, not just any Nazi symbol, but a specific symbol of the SS, who, if I remember correctly, were literally the people who were throwing Jews in the ovens. So this is Graham Plattner, who is the now lone Democrat Senate candidate in the state of Maine.
Can we just give the Democrats a round of applause for the only consistency that they have is the hypocrisy. They have no standards. If it weren't for double standards, they'd have no standards at all, but they are 100% on point all the time with the hypocrisy and the double standards.
Yeah, I mean, this is bad. God's will, dos Volt, is bad because they need you to believe that this is a Nazi symbol, even though it is not. But this, the Totenoff tattoo, is just a guy who went through a dark period in his life. That's what we're supposed to believe.
And he's definitely not doing the Nazi salute, by the way.
No.
Also,
no.
if you drive a Tesla, Nazi.
No.
If you have Starlink, Nazi. If you're on X, Nazi. If you happen to
Nazi salute,
pat your chest and wave to the crowd, Nazi.
Yeah. There's Graham Plattner. That seems like one of those salutes that you're not supposed to do when you are running for political office. You're not allowed to do that. Did you know that? You're not allowed to do that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's not good. You can't do that. But the funny thing is now that this guy is the lone Democrat candidate in the state of Maine, the Democrats, they are kind of in trouble because they have to support this guy now. They don't really have a choice. So here's what that sounds like.
Are now rushing to support him despite a whole bunch of baggage he's bringing to this race. Look at this. Last year, Plattner had to apologize after it was revealed that he had a Nazi symbol tattooed on his chest. He claimed he didn't know what it was, and then he got it covered up. He's also made controversial posts about women. He said they should take, quote, some responsibility to avoid being raped. He praised a Hamas attack that saw Israeli soldiers get killed. He's also signed on to the All Cops Are Bastards movement, suggesting that people should fight fascism with, quote, a good semi-automatic rifle. Those are his words. And he also called rural Americans, quote, racist and stupid.
Bro, I would sit down and debate that guy tomorrow without any studying, any notes, no teleprompters, no nothing. And I would walk that dude. And I live in the middle of nowhere. You can't get more rural than I am.
Well, you're going to have to get through the establishment Democrat Party now, because now they're all rallying around this guy. So Libs of TikTok posted a quote, and I had the video somewhere, but I didn't pull it up. Chris Van Hollen. He went through a really rough period. That's all. It's just a rough period.
That's what they're all saying. That's literally word for word what every single one of them are saying.
Yep. And then you've got the Democrat TikTok or X account saying, let's stand for an oyster farmer, or let's send an oyster farmer to the U.S. Senate and kick out Susan Collins. So he's just an oyster farmer who happens to have the Totenoff tattooed on his chest.
I'm pretty sure that that's just a shell company. It's not like an actual oyster farm, but I don't know that to be a fact. But I would like to take a moment of silence for the state of Maine. If you live in the state of Maine, because you're fucked. Your choices are this Nazi Democrat, and Susan Collins.
That's right. You are
sorry. Sorry for your luck.
Effed. Yeah. We all knew that the Democrats love Nazis. We all knew that they love communists. I mean, he is a full-blown communist who had a Nazi tattoo on him.
They are the party of slavery. Hello.
We knew that. Yeah. But now they're telling you that. Now they are openly admitting to you that they are embracing the communist Nazi ideology in their own senatorial candidates. I mean,
they've been saying it. They sit around and talk about it in these meetings. I've been telling you guys about it every single day, and no one believes me. They don't care that he's a Nazi. They're all a bunch of commies, and they don't care about you. You heard what that guy just said about rural Americans. Everyone on the left think that they're better than you, even though they're all fucking retarded. I don't care if they went to Harvard or Yale or where they went to school. They're all retarded. Every single one of them are actually retarded. I can't even explain.
This is a little out of order, but I think it's worth showing because speaking of retarded, SK, I want you to listen closely to this, all right?
In rural areas were on fire because of corporations poisoning the people who lived in those areas. Poor middle-class communities getting poisoned and dumped on by corporations like Deloitte and 3M, pouring chemicals into these places. And they want to call it a Democratic priority.
She makes my head hurt, number one.
SK,
Number two.
Do you know what Deloitte is?
Yes, Deloitte and Touche. I know exactly. But hold on. She makes my head hurt. But aside from that, you heard what she said about the corporations. All of these Democrats want you to believe that they hate the corporations. But if you stop and you listen to them, remember how I told you about the abundance agenda and how when they talk about resources, when they're talking about the corporations, the resources are abundant. There's plenty of water for the AI data centers. There's plenty of water for the chip manufacturing plants. The resources are abundant, but then you have to put a smart meter on your house and you have to not water your yard during certain times. And you can't turn your air conditioner above a certain temperature, and you have to turn it off during certain hours of the day. That's what I'm talking about. These people will bend over backwards for the corporations as they look you in the eyeball and tell you that the corporations are the ones that are evil. They are lying to you.
SK, Deloitte is an accounting firm.
That is true.
It is not a chemical producing company. It is an accounting firm. She just accused an accounting firm of dropping toxic chemicals into the water.
Yes, because she's actually retarded.
She's an idiot.
She's a bartender, okay?
She's an idiot. So there you go, folks. Watch out for them accounting firms because they are super dangerous.
Now, I know Ernst & Young counting those Oscar votes.
That's
They're
right.
dangerous, guys.
Oh, you want more stupidity? Let's just do some stupid stuff for a few minutes before we wrap up. How about that? I know you love this guy. This is your favorite guy. I know he is.
We have some major news right now. The massive economic blackout for tomorrow on May Day, May 1st, is growing exponentially. Cities across America are preparing for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people refusing to shop, work, do anything in a major act of protest against what we are seeing in America. Tomorrow's day of action is based off of the one-day day of action in Minnesota we saw earlier this year following the ICE murders, but now it's being expanded to cities like Chicago, Los Angeles.
Shut up, idiot. Did anybody experience May Day today? Did anyone see a decline in economic activity in your town?
In North Carolina, they canceled school for 700,000 students because, you guys, if there's going to be a color revolution in this country, they need the students, they need the workers' unions, they need the teachers' unions. It's a part of their plan. Several states canceled school for kids so they would have warm bodies. They even did interviews of some of these kids that were older, like high school kids that were at the protests, and they were like, do you support socialism? And the kid's like, no, not even a little. And they're like, why are you here? And he's like, because we're out of school and they told us we should come, thought it would be fun. These people don't even support what they're out there protesting for.
Yep.
They need warm bodies in the streets because they need 3.5% of the population to protest in order to be able to have a revolution. They talk about it constantly.
Yep. All right. I got one more video for you, SK. And I know you haven't heard all of this. I know that you've maybe seen it mentioned, and I don't know how many people have heard this. This is a audio recording of the Los Angeles mayor, Karen Bass, the Cuban trained communist, who sat idly by while the Palisades and large parts of California burned to the ground. All right. Remember who Karen Bass is. She's one of Ermia Fenian's best friends because they love to go over to Cuba and get trained on Marxist theory and to Cuba.
And real quick, just because I don't think a lot of people know this, I don't even know if Spencer Pratt knows this because I haven't seen him mention it, because he's mentioned the deputy mayor lots here recently.
Yeah, because she's leading the race.
The former deputy mayor of LA, the one that was deputy mayor when these fires took place. Well, actually, there wasn't a deputy mayor when the fires took place, because in October, before the fires happened, Brian Williams, the deputy mayor of LA, had his house raided by the FBI because he called in a bomb threat to the city hall. I don't know if he just needed a day off or what the situation was, but he called in a bomb threat to City Hall. So while Karen Bass was in Africa or wherever the hell she was when her city was burning to the ground, her deputy mayor wasn't able to work because he was on leave for having his house raided by the FBI.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost like they intentionally left. All right.
Almost
SK.
like it was intentional.
Yep. All right, here we go. Folks, I'm curious to see if you've heard this, and I want you to listen closely. All right. This is a phone recording of Karen Bass on a phone call with what I think is a owner of real estate in the area. Okay, here we go.
Situation is very dangerous, and I would never I will take the criticism before I do a publicity stunt. And frankly, a press conference at this point in time would just be publicity.
I think the neighbors, the property owners, and the residents. I mean, 41,000 people live within a square mile here.
Yeah.
Two families share a one-bedroom apartment.
But they want to hear that something is going to be done.
They want to know it's recognized. But they want to know it's recognized.
Exactly. But if I have a choice between that and compromising something, I just have to go along with it. It's not my area of expertise. I want to make sure that you are safe.
Wait, what? Wait,
weird.
What? You if doing a press conference jeopardizes compromising something? What are you talking about, Karen Bass? Hold on, let's rewind this just a tad. We need to hear that again.
My area of expertise. I want to make sure that you are safe.
Safe of what?
And hopefully you can read in between the lines. But I would just appreciate and it's hard for me to tell you this, but hold tight. You will understand soon.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And when I am able to talk, I will be happy to go into great detail.
Okay. And you've got me on the street, and you're welcome to call me at any time. I'll call you right back.
No problem. And just in terms of my trip, just so you know, I'm missing 2 work days. That's it.
Her trip to Africa?
President Biden...
Yeah, that's what she's talking
Weird.
about.
Isn't that where she was when the whole city burned down?
Yeah, SK.
Huh.
That's the entire point of this call. Is she was
Weird.
talking to a property owner in advance of her trip who wanted her to come out and talk about the stuff that was going on. And her response was, I don't want to jeopardize. And if you just be patient, maybe I'll tell you exactly what's happening.
Have you ever seen the report on the Lahaina fire?
No.
Let me send you a picture real quick that you can put up on the screen, because that's crazy.
While you're doing that, there is looks like a Rumble rant that I want to get to. I don't know, SK, if you have any thoughts on this. So $5 Rumble rant from Ice Quartz. It depends on whether Elon Musk is a vindictive person. If he is, what if he thought he through X is allowing the reinforcing of mass psychosis on right alt media since he has had a fight with Trump? I think actually Elon Musk is a little bit disconnected from X now, and I wouldn't be surprised to find out that he steps away or sells it entirely soon. But there's been some changes on X over the last 2 weeks or so that a lot of people who are spreading propaganda and slop are really, really pissed off about, because Nikita Bear has basically been shifting the algorithm, and those people who are known to be lying constantly are not getting paid anymore for it, and they are pissed. As a matter of fact, they're seeing not only their views drop dramatically. I just saw Slobby Constitution the other day, Slobby Constipation, the Project Constitution guy, is now out begging people to go over to Substack and subscribe to his Substack because his income has been cut by 80% on X because he's basically a liar. And then there's that other pro-Palestinian junior guy who just gave away the whole shebang the other day when he was effectively begging Nikita Bear to reinstate his monetization, and flat out said several times on Spaces that he doesn't actually care about the Palestinian issue. He's just in it for the money. So these people are losing their monetization and they're losing their reach because they're known to be liars.
Yep. I uploaded that photo to Dropbox. I think you should put that up on the screen, and we should have anybody in here that knows anything about electric lines tell us what they think.
Give me a second. I'll try to find it. It's not the George Conway.
It says image. It says image and a number. I didn't label it.
There it is. Got it. Okay. All right. What is this? What are we looking at here?
This is what started the original fire. Because remember in Lahaina, a fire started and then they put it out, and then it supposedly embers reignited, which caused Maui to burn down. This supposedly was started by a downed power line. Does that look like something a downed power line causes to you?
No. It looks like
I
an
didn't think
incendiary
so.
device.
I don't know anything about I don't know anything about like power lines, but that doesn't look like a downed power line to me.
No, it doesn't. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some type of small incendiary device.
I don't know. Or those Jewish space lasers? I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, get out your tinfoil hat, guys.
Get it out. All right. I think that's it. There's actually stuff in here that I wanted to talk about that we didn't get to, but we can address it next week, like the Jim Comey indictment, who I think might actually be in some real trouble with this one. I don't think he's going to be able to get out of this. I think the fact that he was promoting a book that was written about how to propagandize the public into accepting assassination at the same time that he was happening upon seashell formations that are advertising assassination. I don't think he's going to get out of this one. I think he's in trouble.
Alina Habba was giving an interview the other day, yesterday or the day before, and she was saying that aside from the fact that he's the director of the FBI and knows exactly what 86 means in that context, there's a guy spending time in jail right now for putting 86 Alina Habba.
Yeah, he's in trouble. And let's be honest, this indictment is just another test run. This is not the indictment that we are all expecting. This is just a test run to test the judicial system to see if they're going to allow them to really move forward with what I think is coming, which is the grand conspiracy. So Jim Comey knows that he's in a lot of trouble, and this is just icing on the cake for what's coming for him. There's more, a lot more. All right, folks, we're going to wrap. We will see you guys on Monday, and Nom will be back to add the special Nom color that he brings to the show. I apologize for boring the snot out of you with my economic stuff, but it's important that we understand what we're leaving and what we're moving to. So I hope you got something out of that.
We stayed distracted in the comments. It's okay.
Yeah, you guys stayed distracted. That's fine. You know what? I'm going to do my own economic content elsewhere because you guys don't like it.
No, it's not that we don't like it. I am not an auditory learner. I have to read it.
Got it. That's okay. It's important. We all need to know it. We need to know what's being created. What's being created is an opportunity for sovereign nations to be able to pursue their own interest and build their own societies. And that hasn't been something that the world's economy has been able to do for a very, very long time. And that's why they need to kill. That's why they tried. That's why they need to assassinate him. That's why they need to impeach him. That's why they need to do everything they can to try to steal the midterm elections. And I don't think it's going to work, because the reality is only 9% of the American public actually have X accounts. Most people aren't paying attention to the nonsense on X. They're just not.
That's true. Also, the people in the comments really liked your economic segment there. They're all giving you props in the comments.
They loved the conversation on trade-offs between glyphosates and food shortages.
Yeah, but also your chart looks like a butt.
It did, because that's what the globalist system is. It's bend you over and shove it right up the butt, because that's what's going to happen if we let these people stay.
Doesn't Mike Benz talk about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Butthole open, butthole closed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, folks. By the way, real quick, this is my favorite song to come out of the back office production team. We've played this twice now. This is the Forged in Fire song. So I'm still waiting on Clipmaster Jake and Guarding the Grid to give me a video montage to go with it, because for some reason AI doesn't know how to make me look like me. So I don't actually look like myself. But this song is badass. So with that, we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend.
Good night, guys.
Trading sacred liberties for power, gold, and twisted dreams. From the broken borders to the fields our forefathers tilled, the enemy is prowling, truth is silenced on a kill. But I'm a patriot source, forged in fire, standing tall. Bible as my sword and Old Glory as my core. No apologies for loving this blood-bought land. We'll charge the gates of darkness with the fire of the righteous stand. God bless the USA. We'll never bend or break. Patriots of freedom, warriors wide awake. They laugh at heaven's mercy, call our faith a dying flame. But when the storm clouds gather, we invoke the holy name. The serpent weaves through statutes, twisting justice into chains. Yet with God as our commander, victory still remains. Yeah, I'm a patriot source, forged in fire, standing tall. Bible as my sword and Old Glory as my call. No apologies for loving this blood-bought land. We'll charge the gates of darkness with the fire of the righteous stand. God bless the USA. We'll never bend or break. Patriots of freedom, warriors wide awake. So arm your heart with courage, let your spirit mount the steed. Ride against the shadows, truth and justice we decree.